There is a strange law that governs human attraction, and most people never realize it exists. Human beings desire what feels rare. They chase what seems difficult to obtain. They value what is limited, and they often overlook what is constantly available. Think about almost anything in life. A product becomes more desirable when there are only a few left. An opportunity becomes more exciting when not everyone can have it. Even places become more attractive when access is limited. Scarcity creates value. And this same principle quietly operates in human relationships. Many people spend their lives trying to gain attention by becoming more available. They answer every message immediately. They always say yes. They constantly check if people are thinking about them. They make themselves emotionally accessible to everyone. Then they wonder why they are not appreciated. The answer is simple. When something is always available, the mind slowly stops valuing it. This does not mean people are cruel. It is simply human psychology. The things that require effort often feel more valuable than the things that come easily. This is why constantly chasing people often decreases your attractiveness, because chasing communicates something without words. It says, "I need your attention." It says, "My happiness depends on your response." And neediness rarely creates attraction. Confidence does. There is something incredibly attractive about a person who is comfortable with themselves. Someone who does not desperately seek validation. Someone who has their own life, their own purpose, and their own direction. People notice this immediately because emotional independence is rare. Most people depend heavily on other people's opinions. They need approval to feel valuable. They need constant reassurance to feel secure. But when they meet someone who seems completely comfortable being alone, something happens inside them. Curiosity begins. Who is this person? Why do they seem so calm? Why are they not trying to impress anyone? Why do they seem complete without needing attention? Curiosity is powerful, and curiosity often becomes attraction. This is why ignoring people in the right way can make you more attractive. Not because you are playing games, not because you are punishing anyone, but because you are no longer making other people the center of your world. You are living your own life. And there is something deeply magnetic about a person who values their own time and energy. Think about the people who leave strong impressions on others. They are rarely the ones begging for attention. They are rarely the loudest people in the room. Instead, they possess a quiet sense of value. Their attention feels earned. Their time feels important. Their presence feels meaningful. Why? Because they are not giving it away desperately. Scarcity creates importance. Unfortunately, many people destroy their own value by becoming too available. They reveal everything about themselves immediately. They constantly seek connection. They chase every opportunity to be noticed. And by doing this, they remove all mystery. The human mind loves mystery. It is fascinated by what it cannot completely understand. When people can predict everything about you, they often stop thinking about you. But when there is a sense of mystery, the mind remains interested. It keeps asking questions. It keeps wondering, and wonder creates attraction. This does not mean becoming cold or distant. It means developing a life that does not revolve around gaining attention. It means understanding that your value does not come from how many people notice you. Your value comes from who you are, your purpose, your self-respect, your inner confidence. The moment you stop desperately trying to be seen, something interesting happens. People begin seeing you because the person who values their own time appears valuable. The person who does not chase attention appears confident. And confidence is one of the most attractive qualities a human being can possess. The paradox is beautiful. The more you chase people, the more they often pull away. The more comfortable you become with yourself, the more people become curious about you, because people are naturally drawn toward things that feel rare, valuable, and difficult to possess. And once you understand this principle of scarcity, you begin discovering another powerful truth. The person who needs less attention often holds far more power than the person who constantly seeks it. Once you understand that scarcity creates value, you begin noticing another truth that is even more powerful. The person who needs less attention often holds more power. This is one of the oldest laws of human behavior. In every relationship, in every friendship, and even in attraction, the person who is least dependent on validation usually has the strongest presence. Why? Because dependence creates weakness. The moment your happiness depends entirely on someone else's attention, you begin giving away your power. You start overthinking. You wait for messages. You seek reassurance. You worry about what people think of you. And without realizing it, your emotional state becomes controlled by others. People can sense this. Human beings are incredibly sensitive to emotional energy. They can feel when someone desperately needs approval. They can feel when someone is trying too hard to be liked. And strangely enough, this often makes that person less attractive because desperation creates pressure. Neediness creates discomfort. No one wants to feel responsible for someone else's sense of worth. Now, think about the opposite. Imagine someone who enjoys your company but does not depend on it. Someone who values relationships but is perfectly comfortable being alone. Someone who appreciates attention but does not need it to feel complete. There is something deeply attractive about such a person. Why? Because they radiate freedom, and freedom is powerful. A person who does not desperately seek validation appears confident. They appear calm. They appear secure. And security is magnetic. This is why people often become more attractive when they stop chasing attention. They stop forcing conversations. They stop trying to impress everyone. They stop begging to be noticed. And suddenly, people begin noticing them because confidence naturally attracts attention. The truth is that the less you need from others emotionally, the more relaxed and authentic you become. You speak differently. You carry yourself differently. You no longer fear rejection because your identity is not built on other people to approve. This changes everything because people are drawn toward those who seem comfortable in their own skin. The irony of life is that many people spend years trying to become attractive by seeking more attention. But often attraction grows when you need less attention. Think about the people who leave strong impressions on others. Many of them are not constantly demanding to be seen. They are not desperate to be accepted. They simply have a life that is meaningful to them. They have goals, purpose, interests, a sense of identity that exists independently of other people's opinions. This independence creates power because when you are not dependent on external validation, you become difficult to control. You stop making decisions based on fear of rejection. You stop changing yourself to please everyone. You stop chasing people who do not value you. And this emotional freedom becomes incredibly attractive. There is another reason why needing less attention creates power. People naturally respect those who respect themselves. If you are constantly giving away your time and energy just to gain approval, others unconsciously begin to value your attention less. But when you value your own time, others begin valuing it too. This is why boundaries are attractive. This is why self-respect is attractive. This is why emotional independence is attractive, because all of these things communicate one message. I enjoy connection, but I do not depend on it. And that message is powerful. The person who can walk away from unnecessary validation possesses a quiet strength that many people admire. They are not cold. They are not arrogant. They simply understand that their worth is not determined by how much attention they receive. And this inner security changes the way people respond to them, because people are often drawn to those who seem complete on their own. The less you need attention, the more valuable your attention becomes. The less you seek approval, the more your approval matters. The less you chase people, the more curious they become about you. This is one of the great paradoxes of human psychology. And once you stop needing constant attention, something fascinating begins to happen. Distance starts revealing who genuinely values your presence and who only appreciated you when you were always available to them. Once you stop needing constant attention and become comfortable with your own company, something very interesting begins to happen. Distance starts telling the truth because one of the most powerful things about ignoring people is that it reveals who genuinely values your presence. Most people never discover this because they are always available. They always call first. They always send the first message. They always keep the relationship alive. And because they never step back, they never learn an important lesson. Who would still choose them if they stop chasing? Distance creates clarity. When your attention is no longer constantly available, people begin revealing their real feelings. Some people move closer. Some people begin appreciating you more. Some suddenly realize your value, and others quietly disappear. This is not a bad thing. It is information because not everyone values you. Some people only value what you provide. Your attention, your energy, your support, your availability. And the moment these things are no longer freely available, their interest fades. That tells you something important. They did not miss you. They missed what you gave them. This is why temporary distance can be incredibly revealing. It removes illusions. It removes assumptions. And it forces people to show their true priorities. Think about how many relationships survive only because one person keeps chasing. One person keeps initiating. One person keeps making the effort. The moment they stop, everything falls apart. Painful as it may be, That collapse reveals the truth, because genuine relationships do not depend entirely on one person's effort. Real connection moves in both directions. Mutual care creates mutual effort. Mutual respect creates mutual attention. If you disappear for a while and someone genuinely values you, they notice. They wonder where you are. They reach out. They make an effort because your presence matters to them. But if your absence changes nothing, then perhaps your presence was never as important as you believed. This lesson can be difficult. Many people avoid it because they fear discovering the truth. They would rather continue chasing than face the possibility that some relationships are one-sided. But truth, even painful truth, is freedom. Because once you know who truly values you, you stop wasting your energy trying to earn affection from people who were never fully invested. This is why ignoring people can become a powerful test. Not a manipulative game, not a punishment. A test. A test that quietly asks, who comes looking for me when I stop giving so much of myself away? Who notices my absence? Who values me beyond what I provide? Human beings often take things for granted when they are constantly available. This includes people. Sometimes someone does not realize your importance until they experience your absence. Your silence creates space, and in that space people begin to understand your value. This is one of the strange paradoxes of attraction. Sometimes your absence speaks louder than your presence. Sometimes stepping back reveals more than stepping forward ever could, because people often understand the value of something only after it is no longer constantly in front of them. Again, this is not about becoming cold or playing games. It is about refusing to force connections. It is about allowing relationships to reveal themselves naturally. The people who care will move closer. The people who only wanted convenience will drift away. And both outcomes are valuable because clarity protects your peace. The truth is that many people are exhausted because they spend years chasing relationships that would never chase them back. They give more and more of themselves, hoping for appreciation. But appreciation cannot be forced. Value cannot be demanded. Real connection happens naturally. Distance simply reveals whether it exists. And once you begin understanding who genuinely values your presence, another fascinating thing starts happening. People become curious about you. They begin wondering about you because mystery has entered the relationship. And mystery is one of the most powerful forces in human attraction. After distance reveals who truly values your presence, something even more powerful begins to happen. You become mysterious, and mystery has an incredible effect on the human mind. Human beings are naturally fascinated by what they cannot completely understand. They think about unanswered questions. They become curious about things that remain partially hidden. This is why mystery creates attraction. Think about the people who have left the deepest impressions on you. Many of them probably did not reveal everything about themselves immediately. There was something unknown about them, something difficult to figure out. And because of that, your mind kept returning to them. The mind dislikes uncertainty. It wants answers. It wants closure. It wants to understand when it cannot fully understand someone. It keeps thinking about them. This is why saying less can often be more powerful than saying too much. Unfortunately, many people destroy their own mystery by revealing everything too quickly. They share every thought. They explain every feeling. They make themselves completely predictable. And predictability often reduces intrigue because once people feel they know everything about you, curiosity begins to disappear. The mind moves on to something else. Mystery keeps attention alive. This does not mean becoming secretive or dishonest. It means understanding that not everything about you needs to be immediately available. Your dreams, your plans, your emotions, your entire story. Some things deserve time. Some things become more valuable when they are revealed slowly. The most attractive people often understand this naturally. They do not speak endlessly about themselves. They do not constantly seek attention. They are comfortable with silence. They are comfortable with being misunderstood. And because they reveal themselves gradually, people become more curious about them. There is something powerful about a person who is not trying to explain themselves to everyone because it communicates confidence. It says, I do not need to convince you of my value, and confidence is attractive. The truth is that many people talk too much because they are afraid. They fear being forgotten. They fear being misunderstood. They fear not receiving enough attention, so they reveal everything. They constantly explain themselves. They constantly seek reassurance, but in doing so, they remove all mystery. And mystery is often what keeps people interested. Think about books and movies. If someone told you the entire story before it began, much of the excitement would disappear. The unknown creates engagement. The unknown creates anticipation. The unknown creates fascination. Human relationships work in a similar way. When people cannot fully predict you, they pay more attention. They become curious. They wonder about you. They remember you. Again, this is not about manipulation. It is about valuing yourself enough to understand that you do not need to give everyone complete access to who you are. There is strength in being selective. There is strength in being private. There is strength in letting people discover you gradually. Some of the most powerful individuals in history understood this principle. They did not reveal every thought. They did not constantly seek approval. They allowed an element of mystery to remain around them. And that mystery increased their influence, because people often become obsessed with what they cannot fully possess or understand. The more available and predictable you become, the easier it is for people to take you for granted. But when there is a sense of depth and mystery about you, people continue thinking about you even when you are not present. This is why ignoring people can increase attraction, because your absence creates questions. Your silence creates curiosity. Your independence creates intrigue. And intrigue is often the beginning of fascination. But eventually, something even more important happens. As you stop chasing attention and become comfortable with mystery, you begin developing a quality that is even more attractive than curiosity itself. You become detached. And detachment is where real power begins. After you learn the power of mystery, you begin discovering something even deeper. The most attractive people are often the most detached. This sounds strange because many people confuse detachment with coldness. They think being detached means not caring, not loving, not feeling emotions. But true detachment means something completely different. It means your happiness is not controlled by other people's attention. It means you can appreciate someone without depending on them. It means you can enjoy relationships without losing yourself inside them. And there is something incredibly attractive about this kind of emotional freedom. Most people are emotionally dependent. Their mood changes according to who texts them. Their confidence changes according to who notices them. Their self-worth changes according to who approves of them. This creates emotional instability, and instability often pushes people away because desperation creates pressure. Neediness creates tension. The more someone feels responsible for your happiness, the less comfortable they often become. Now think about the opposite. Imagine someone who enjoys your company, but is perfectly fine on their own. Someone who values relationships, but does not need constant reassurance. Someone who can walk away from situations that no longer serve them. There is something powerful about such a person because they are free, and freedom is magnetic. People are naturally drawn to those who seem emotionally complete because deep down everyone wants that kind of inner peace. Detachment communicates strength. It says I enjoy connection, but I do not depend on it. It says I value people, but I do not lose myself trying to keep them. It says I know my worth even when no one is giving me attention. This kind of confidence is rare, and rarity creates attraction. Think about why so many people become obsessed with gaining attention. They believe attention will make them feel valuable. But the truth is the opposite. The moment you know your own value, you stop needing constant attention. And strangely enough, this often makes people pay more attention to you because confidence attracts. Jaco attracts. Emotional independence attracts. There is another reason detachment is powerful. Detached people are difficult to manipulate. They do not chase approval. They do not tolerate disrespect just to avoid loneliness. They are not easily controlled by fear of rejection. This creates an aura of strength around them. Because the person who can walk away always has power. Many people stay trapped in unhealthy relationships because they are afraid of losing attention. They accept poor treatment because they fear being alone. They hold on to people who do not value them because they depend on external validation. But detached people understand something important. Being alone is far better than losing yourself for someone else's approval. This mindset changes everything. It changes how you speak, how you carry yourself, how you make decisions, because your actions are no longer controlled by emotional desperation. You become calm, you become patient, you become selective, and all of these qualities increase your attractiveness. The truth is that people often chase attention because they believe it will bring them happiness. But happiness does not come from being wanted by everyone. It comes from being comfortable with yourself. The more peaceful you become within yourself, the less you need from others emotionally. And the less you need, the more attractive you often become. Because people are fascinated by those who possess inner stability. Someone who does not panic when ignored. Someone who does not beg for attention. Someone who remains confident whether they are praised or forgotten. That kind of person has power not because they are trying to impress anyone, but because they have developed something very rare, inner freedom. And once you become emotionally detached from the need for attention, something remarkable begins to happen. You stop chasing people entirely and start focusing on yourself. And that is often the exact moment when people begin chasing you. After learning the power of scarcity, emotional independence, distance, mystery, and detachment, you arrive at the final and perhaps most beautiful paradox of human attraction. The moment you stop chasing people is often the moment people start chasing you. This happens because your focus changes. Instead of constantly asking who likes me, you begin asking how can I build a better life? Instead of seeking attention, you start seeking purpose. Instead of waiting for validation, you start creating something meaningful for yourself. And there is something deeply attractive about a person who is fully engaged in their own life. Think about it. Who captures your attention more? The person who spends every moment trying to be noticed, or the person who is so focused on their mission, their goals, and their growth that they are not desperately trying to impress anyone? Most people are drawn toward purpose because purpose creates energy. It creates confidence. It creates direction. And direction is attractive. Many people make the mistake of believing that attractiveness comes from appearance, popularity, or endless attention. But real attraction often comes from something much deeper. It comes from having a life that feels meaningful to you. Because when your life has purpose, you stop depending on other people to create excitement for you. You stop expecting someone else to complete you. You stop chasing relationships simply because you are afraid of being alone. And this changes your entire presence. You become calmer, more confident, more selective. You no longer accept disrespect just to keep someone's attention. You no longer sacrifice your peace simply to avoid loneliness because your life already has value. You already have something important to wake up for. This inner fulfillment changes how people see you, because people are naturally attracted to those who seem alive with purpose. A person who is building something, learning something, creating something, growing into something. That energy is magnetic. There is another reason this works. When you focus on yourself, you become unpredictable. People can no longer assume that your entire world revolves around them. Your time becomes valuable. Your attention becomes valuable. Your presence becomes valuable, and value creates attraction. This is why so many people experience a strange phenomenon. The moment they stop chasing someone, the other person suddenly becomes interested. The moment they stop begging for attention, people begin noticing them. The moment they start focusing on their own life, they become more attractive. Why? Because they stopped operating from lack. They stopped communicating neediness. They stopped saying, I need you to make me happy. Instead, they began saying, I am already building a meaningful life, and I invite people to be part of it. This energy changes everything because confidence is not loud. Confidence is quiet. It comes from knowing that your life has value with or without someone's approval. And this kind of confidence is rare. Most people are waiting for someone else to give them meaning. But attractive people often create their own meaning. They invest in themselves. They develop their minds. They pursue goals. They protect their peace. And because they are focused on growth, they naturally become more interesting. The truth is simple. People are often attracted to those who are deeply committed to their own lives because purpose creates strength. Purpose creates confidence. Purpose creates independence. And independence is magnetic. This does not mean you stop caring about people. It means you stop making people the center of your existence. You become the center of your own life. You become responsible for your own happiness. And when that happens, something beautiful occurs. Relationships become a choice, not a necessity. Attention becomes a bonus, not a requirement. Love becomes something you share, not something you desperately need to survive. And ironically, this is often when people begin valuing you the most because the world is full of people chasing attention. But very few people possess the quiet power of someone who is fully focused on becoming the best version of themselves. And in the end, that is why ignoring people can make you attractive. Not because you are trying to make anyone chase you, but because the moment you stop chasing attention and start building your own life, you become someone worth chasing.